And here we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Behind Relationship Goals by
Megan and Mikael.
by whatever works for them. And Megan reminded me that we had to remind all of you that the name of our podcast is Behind Relationship Goals.
Baka akala nila Bones Fofo podcast yung
Oh,
pangalan.
and pinaghirapan niya ni Megan. So respect to that because we are on episode number, I'm lost.
6 already.
See, episode number 6, and we're doing great. Okay, so thank you to all the listeners and the YouTube viewers out there.
I know we've been having a lot of YouTube viewers recently, so thanks guys for watching.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think Megan wants to remind all of you again about the hashtags as well.
Hashtag Behind Relationship Goals. Hashtag Bones Fofo podcast.
Okay, game. So we have a very interesting episode. So it's still relationship connected, but we're going to dive into some of the things that Megan and I have learned to love during our 8-year relationship. So Bones, what's the topic for this episode?
Our Learn to Love episode. Our Learn to Love topic is traveling.
Yes.
And learn to love because we didn't initially...
Oh, no, wait. Whoa. Wag mo akong isama sa'yo. I loved traveling. Even before I met you, although I did not travel a lot, I loved it. You, however, that's your own story.
I was
to
kind
tell.
of like, no, I was scared to travel. I was the type of person that just wanted to stay at home, wanted to stay in where I was comfortable. I didn't like the unknown. You know me, I'm a scaredy cat. So
Okay, so basically, before meeting one another, before we got together, our outlook on travel was very different. For me, travel was I was very open to it. I was very open to the concept simply because my dad and my mom traveled a lot.
and you guys
And it
traveled a lot
made-
as a family.
We traveled a lot domestically.
Yeah.
So we were at that time around 8 kids, or because now we're 9 kids. But at that time, lugging around 8 kids na makukulit and halos the same age was very expensive. So my dad and mom had this saying, na all for one for all. When it comes to traveling. So obviously going out of the country was just out of the question. They had to put us through school and everything.
Yeah.
It was just insanely expensive. But we did go on a lot of domestic trips. So we would go to Baguio a lot, Batangas. I remember one time my parents saved up and we rode the super ferry to Boracay.
Oh, saya
1999.
naman.
And that was amazingly fun for me. And my dad was an adventure guy, and
Yeah.
my mom was also very adventurous and active. So we would go on a lot of hikes. I remember in Baguio, in Camp John Hay, there was a hiking trail called the White Trail.
Okay.
And it was like a 30-minute long trail, and we were always excited. Oh, there was like one time that we did it for 4 years straight. So the concept of traveling, I was very excited about, especially that, after I graduated, I was going to make my own money. I was going to have my own chance to travel out of the country.
And do your own kind of trips.
Yeah. How about you? What did you think about travel? I
So-
actually don't think I've asked you this.
No, so growing up, we did travel, but we only traveled to visit family. Like if we had to visit our grandparents for Thanksgiving, like my parents would take a drive, like a 12-hour drive to get from Virginia to Mississippi, or probably even more. Basta it felt so long. And then our concept of traveling was to visit family, and we would just stay in their house. We wouldn't really go out to eat because we just make home
Ew.
dinners. Wow, social mo kasi.
Boring.
But that was how we grew up. And even when we were living in the States and we came to the Philippines for vacation, it was really just staying at relatives' houses. And then I think the only kind of vacation, quote unquote, that we got was when we went to Baguio because we got to do sightseeing. And we also went to Boracay in 1998 when there was nothing. So that was a real big treat for us because that's the only time we ever experienced a vacation. And that's all I had growing up. Like we didn't really travel much. Like my parents were just like, "Oh, it's too expensive. Let's just stay at home."
Yeah, your dad was old na kasi.
Oh,
Kidding.
boring siya. Joke.
No, so that was us prior to meeting one another, and then eventually we met, and a few months into our relationship, we were headed to our first out of the country, bongga agad, out of the country trip.
So, okay, yung kwento kasi dito, for our first out of the country trip was that when we planned this, we weren't even together. We weren't even boyfriend and girlfriend. And then
But you knew what was happening.
I
Come
knew that
on.
there could be a possibility that if we book this trip, that by the time we go on this trip, Mikael might be my boyfriend.
Or we
by
were
then.
much closer. Boyfriend agad. I didn't think
Oh,
that.
wow.
Ako kala ko, hindi, just take it slow ako, diba?
Oh, yeah. Uso sa'yo yung 1 year panliligaw. Okay, so there might be a possibility that, mas close na kami, ganyan. And how did this trip come into place? Somebody just said, "Hey, there's a promo, right?"
Yeah, there was a seat sale and we just booked it.
I remember we
we
got it for like 3,500 for a round trip ticket to Hong Kong.
Yeah, so I was excited. Of course, I was gonna be with Megan. I was gonna be with the pretty girl.
Wow,
I was gonna be able to
pretty.
make her lende. May the moves opportunities doon.
So wait, what is lende for the people that can't understand Tagalog?
Flirt.
Ah, okay.
I would be able to flirt with her.
Ooh.
No, but that would be so much fun. It was a very exciting thought for me, to be with someone I liked abroad.
Mm-hmm.
That had never happened to me. The girls I usually like were just like in school, classmate, batchmate, yun lang.
And now this is
So,
like a whole different thing.
Oo, kung abroad, parang wow, iba to, next level na to. So, yeah, that's how I felt about it. How did you feel about the trip? Were you scared or were you overcome with excitement because you were going to be with me?
Wow. Assuming. No, I had never traveled with somebody that I liked also. So I thought that was going to be fun, but then at the back of my head I was thinking, where is he going to stay? Because we're with another couple, and then it's me and our other two friends. But then where would he stay? Would he get his own room? Would he sleep on the couch? So
that's what you thought.
I was like, is he gonna stay in our room? Because that's kind of weird if we're like not together. And then how would our other friends feel? So I actually asked you, so when we do go on this Hong Kong trip, where are you gonna stay? And we weren't together at this
What did
time.
I say?
You're like, oh, I'm just gonna sleep in the bathtub. I was like, okay. If he wants to sleep in the bathtub, he will sleep in the bathtub.
Halatang may plano na ako eh. No? Loko lang, joke lang. Pero yeah, what an answer. What am I saying? What was I thinking that time? But anyway, flash forward to the actual trip already. So we were preparing for it was the day of the trip. We were packing and getting ready, and what happened? Do you remember what happened?
I remembered asking you what you were going to bring, and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to bring like this luggage, and you threw in a bunch of your clothes.
Yeah, and so I showed Megan that I probably had a backpack and one small piece of luggage because we were going to be in Hong Kong for 5 days, right?
5 days, yes.
For 5 days. And then I told Megan, hey, what about your stuff? I look in her room, and she had like 3 maletas.
2 naman.
No, but you had your check-in. I mean, your hand carry.
So I had 2 big luggages, and then I had a hand carry and a backpack.
Parang OFW siya. Parang magtatrabaho na siya sa Hong Kong sa dami ng dinala niya. Intense. Like, I was shocked. I was so shocked. And I was like, whoa, wait. And even though I had just met her, I think this was the first time that alarm bells really started ringing in my head. That I was like, oh my God.
Was this a deal breaker?
What? Not naman a deal breaker, but I was in shock. Because I was like, what does she think is going to happen when you go to Hong Kong? Ano to, my fashion show siya every day?
Well, okay, I did think about that, like being fashion for traveling, because I had never traveled with friends. So I was like, we're going to take lots of pictures. I got to look good, honey.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between having enough clothes to do a fashion show and being fashion. Pwede naman 5 sets of clothes. Tapos na.
Of course, at that time, I didn't know that. And I wasn't, well, I'm still pretty basic, but but at that time I was thinking, okay, like what if I get sweaty when I walk? I gotta bring another t-shirt.
Malamig, te. January.
Yeah, pero papawisan pa rin naman habang naglalakad.
Pinapawisan ka pa rin kahit malamig. But anyway, we digress. Basically, what happened there was I told Megan, open up all your suitcases. You are not going to bring 3 pieces of luggage because at the end of the day, bago pa kami, syempre, yung lalaki, yung magiging gentleman. Ako yung kakarga ng mga bagahe mo eh.
And I did tell you that I was gonna shop during that trip.
Diba? So I was like, oh my God, no, this is not gonna happen. I'm not gonna carry 3 pieces of luggage plus my own. As in, I had foreseen it already. Nakita ko na eh. I was like, mahihirapan ako dito. Wag na. So I helped her out, and she was a willing listener at that time, to be honest with you.
At that
So we were
time?
able to cut it down to, I think, one baggage.
Yeah, one bag. I brought one bag and then I emptied out half of it. So I only brought half the clothes that I initially was bringing in that luggage.
I would say maybe even less than half. But anyway, yeah, that was our first trip to Hong Kong. Eventually, we went on the trip, and a lot of things happened. Are we gonna discuss what happened on
we
the
should.
trip?
We
Okay,
should.
game.
Okay, so this is the time when
But yeah, sorry. Before you get to that one, problem number one of traveling together was solved. That was our first major hurdle. Overpacking. Megan was an overpacker. I would say I'm an underpacker, but I think that's a bit better than the contrary.
overpacking, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to my story, this was 2011, and this was the time that hindi pa uso yung only data. Right?
Right.
Data roaming, only data roaming.
Only data roaming, yes.
Yeah. So there was roaming, but it was expensive. So
Super.
we're just like, oh gosh, how are we going to communicate with each other? Let's just buy a local SIM card.
And at that time, wala akong smartphone, FYI.
Yeah, you didn't have a smartphone. You just had yung parang
I had yung may
3210, parang ganon.
low-end BlackBerry, pero hindi BlackBerry, yung parang Samsung yata.
Blueberry. Ano yung
Parang
fake
ganun.
mo yung phone mo? So we got to Hong Kong and we go to buy, I don't know, food, or we went to withdraw money and our friends went to buy food. And by the time we were done, we couldn't find our friends.
Yeah, this was in the airport. So as soon as we landed, we couldn't find them and decided, okay, we might as well just go ahead to the hotel, which was like an hour away. So that's exactly what we did. Megan and I, syempre, kinikilig pa kami sa isa't isa. We were traveling together. We were in a new country, malamig, naka-jacket kaming dalawa. So we said, okay, tara, let's go. Para tong amazing race tayong dalawa, tapos everyone else. So finally ended up in the hotel. And our
Yeah.
friends arrived like 2 hours later.
Yeah, and they were like, what the fudge? Where did you go? And we're just like,
Sobrang galit sila. Because apparently, the reason why they arrived 2 hours later was because they spent 2 hours looking for us in the airport. So, kami, syempre, tuwang-tuwa kami. Hindi na namin naisip yun kasi we couldn't get in touch with them.
yeah, we tried
So,
calling them, to be fair, and we did look around, but to their defense, we only looked around once and we didn't even try to look for them.
yes, so we were quite the inconsiderate couple, I must say. Friends,
Yes.
I am very sorry.
We're sorry. We admit our mistake now after all these years.
Yeah, so what other lessons did we learn on this first trip?
I think that pretty much covers it with the friends, our
Yeah.
friend trip. Oh, wait. Where did you end up sleeping on this trip? Not in the bathtub, definitely.
Where did I end up sleeping?
You slept in the same room as me and my friends. Apat tayo. Like it was me, you, Adrian, and Roxy in one room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we all shared the room.
Nice. Success.
All right. So after having a group trip with friends, of course, we went on our first solo trip together.
Yeah, I think our first solo trip was around 2012. This was to Shanghai because my best friend was studying there. So he was there for around a couple of months and he had a place. And we decided, hey, let's visit him and I'll go with Megan.
And how was this trip for us?
I think this trip was very smooth because from what I remember, there were absolutely zero hiccups.
Yeah,
Going into the trip.
it was a pretty fun trip.
I mean, we were right smack in the middle of our honeymoon stage, and it was a lot of eating,
Oh gosh,
a lot of
we
memorable
we
food
ate so
places. So
much.
this is in Shanghai, China. The first and most memorable food place that I can think of is the one in Park Hyatt at the 110th or 105th floor. At the 110th or 105th floor, we had the best, up to this date, the best chow lung bao
Oh my goodness.
I have ever had the chance to try.
It was so like it was packed with flavor and it wasn't too hot and it was
It was just
so
amazingly good.
good.
It was just amazingly good. So yeah, so those were our first few trips, and I guess over the course of 7 years, we've been to what? How many countries?
I don't know.
More than
We should
10.
count. Definitely more than
I know
10.
it's more than. And there you go. That was the first two trips that Megan and I had together. And over the like I said, over time we've learned a lot of different things, tips, tricks, travel hacks. And a reason why I was so excited for this episode is because this is my chance to finally share some of the things that we use and that we've learned. So start it off, Bones.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Take two. You can do it, Bones. You're gonna include that in the edit.
Oh gosh. A lot of people a lot of people do ask us how we travel.
Yeah.
And this is something that we of course want to share with you guys, and these are our tips and tricks on how to travel. How do we plan a trip? That's the most important thing. How do we plan a trip?
So, like, what's the first one? How do we decide where to go?
We have to decide where to go. That's number one.
For me, deciding where to go, I think that would be the easiest part.
Sometimes it is, depending on what visas we have.
Ah, yes. Okay, so let me set the stage a little bit here. If visas were not an issue, money was not an issue, time, you had no restrictions, deciding where to go is not difficult because I would go to the most exciting place that I have not been to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask me where to go right now, actually you first because I have something already.
Oh.
Where do you want to go right now? No restrictions.
Korea.
Oh, okay.
Why is that not exciting?
Yeah,
never
no, it's
been to
exciting.
South
It's exciting.
Korea.
It is
Gosh,
somewhat.
so judgmental about what I wanna, where I wanna go.
No, because I was like thinking of something more adventurous. That's why. So that's my
Okay.
default. So if you ask me where to go right now, the first place I thought of was Mongolia.
Okay.
The second place I thought of was Antarctica.
Oh gosh.
But my God, that would be so much fun. Like, these are places that you don't get to go to all the time. That in one person's lifetime, not that everybody gets a chance to go there. So if I had the chance, I would take it in a heartbeat.
Mikael's dream honeymoon destination is Antarctica.
Yeah.
So.
Be happy with the penguins there. So yeah, basically deciding where to go if there were no restrictions. You pick the most exciting one off the top of your head and don't look back. Because if you're going to get caught up in the decision-making process, I mean, that's going to kill your motivation and excitement. Like, you're so excited, and the next thing you know, you're spending 2 hours on Google Maps or a globe and trying to look of where you want to go.
Okay, I think the easiest thing would be to write down a list of the places that they want to go to, see what your time restriction is, and see what visas that you have or can get if you're crunch on time.
Yes. Okay, and I like the point that you mentioned there, time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we decide how long to stay in a country?
Okay, so when we go to a country, we don't want to stay there till we get sick of it.
Yeah, because in contrast, before we get to how long we stay, for most Filipinos, I would
Yeah.
say, or I guess the
Most
average
people.
traveler, when they talk about a vacation out of the country, they're talking about 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
A month.
A month. So I have some titos and titas. They say, okay, bakasyon kami sa United States. And then they'll say, we'll stay there for 1 month. And I'm like, what?
I know that's long.
Yeah, because, okay, drum roll. For me, can I speak for you as well?
Yes, of course.
For me and Megan, I think the optimal time to stay in a country, regardless of how far it is,
Yeah.
I would say is like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
And
Same.
6 days max.
You're pushing it.
Okay, and that's so surprising to everyone because they're like, wow, bitin, that's not enough. You won't be able to see everything. And that's kind of the point.
We're not there to see everything. We're there to experience it, you know, like
And
the
enjoy
thing-
what
and
we
enjoy
can.
what we can. Because if you try to put everything into your itinerary, you're gonna get tired and you're not gonna enjoy as much. If you're gonna try to do 3, places to go sightseeing, and one day you're gonna get so tired
And not
because
only are you gonna get so tired, you are gonna make a lot of enemies. Okay, imagine a family of 8. Okay, 2 want to go to one spot, 3 want to go to 2 spots, and then the other rest want to go to all the spots. You guys are gonna end up fighting, and then of course you all want to stay together and
mm-hmm.
everything. Oh my God, that's like a disaster. World War III in the making. So, for me, when it comes to traveling and budgeting your time, know that mabibitin kayo.
Yeah.
And that's okay because it will motivate you to work harder so that you can earn enough money and earn enough time
Yes.
to go back there and enjoy another side of that country.
Let's say that we've decided on where we want to go. That's the number one. Number two is let's decide if it's possible to go right now,
Possible meaning budget wise.
budget wise, time wise.
Okay, if it comes to flight prices, if we're talking
Mhm.
about flight prices, my tip there is that, of course, the seat sales in the Philippines are crazy.
Yeah.
There are seat sales almost every weekend nowadays, so you have to make the most out of that. But let's say you suddenly have a week of free time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to check the prices. For me, from my experience,
Oh wow, it's been crazy. Like we've
s-
checked last minute and we've gotten tickets to the US like 3 hours before the flight and we got them at like $600 to New York.
basically the best prices I've had for most of my long haul flights have been last minute trips. Recently, I also went to my sister
Mm-hmm.
in Brussels. It was a Manila to Brussels round trip flight, and I got it for $800, which is just $40 above the seat sale price.
Yes.
And I booked it on the same day. So it is worth it. It was worth it. You just have to be ready for a last minute trip,
And
which is another
and
skill.
and if you have the
altogether.
luxury of time to travel at the last minute also.
Yeah. So what are your other tips for people who want to travel, especially as a couple? What do you think?
As a couple, I think you both need to know what you want to do and know what you want to do together. Because a lot of the times we'll do coffee together, but then sometimes Mikael wants to go to his computer appliances and stuff. And I don't want to do that. Like, I want to do window shopping or I want to just walk around or just like sit somewhere and play games. We'll go separate ways.
Yeah, I like that point. I don't think couples or groups or families or friends should pressure themselves into staying together the whole time,
Yeah.
every single second of the trip. For me, actually, dapat hindi kayo magkasama actually. I think that in a day, the way I do it with my family, we're like 10 or 11. When we travel, I just tell them, okay, we'll have breakfast together and then you can go your separate ways. We'll all meet together for dinner at this restaurant.
Yes. So that everybody can do what they want to do throughout the day. And then we just meet up at the designated spot.
And yeah, it makes it more memorable. It makes the breakfasts and the dinners more memorable because those were the few times that you spent with your family together.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that you can do your own thing. Because if you're pressured into just staying with a group, not everybody's going to enjoy that. And
Yeah.
some people are going to be like, oh gosh, why am I here? I'm like, I want to do my own thing. So it gives people freedom.
Everyone needs their own individual time. And then kung natatakot naman sila, then it's a good time for them to get to know themselves and learn how to travel on your own. Guys, girls, don't be scared to travel on your own. It is completely fine.
This actually happened when we were in Japan. Mikael was going around the computer shops and he wanted to buy like his graphic cards and like stuff for like his mining and
Yes,
all that.
and then si Megan, si Bones, nagdadabog na. Halatang halata na. Kitang-kita mo na sa mukha
I was like a
niya.
robot. Like I was just like, what are we doing here?
So, and I was still very excited to go around the whole that whole place. So I turned around, I looked at her, and I said, "Go home."
Because I wanted to go home so bad. So I was like, really? You're not going to be mad if I'm not with you? And
And then in my head, I was like, "Well, don't be mad that I'm sending you home."
so what happened was I just went home. I took the train and I went home to just like rest my feet and just chill out and play some of the games that I wanted to try out.
Oo, advantage pa ako kasi hinatid niya sa bahay, dun sa
Yeah,
condo.
I brought all the
Lahat ng
stuff with
gamit
me.
ko. So it was fun and it was good. And I think this is a very important tip. This finding a good balance between staying together and going out and exploring on your own.
Yeah.
So I like that tip. I hope you guys listen to that. It's not as easy to implement, but believe me, it makes the whole trip so much more worth it.
It's not easy because there are some people that think that their ideal of traveling is everybody's together.
Yeah.
That's why.
Don't impose your expectations on other people. I don't think you should do that because
Yeah.
some people say, no, we go to like Paris, you have to see this, you have to see that. But to be honest with you, not a lot. Everyone
Wants to
wants to
see it.
see those things. A good example would be the Louvre. Oh my God, here, sacrilege for most people. I didn't really care much for the Louvre. Sorry. I mean, I
It's
know.
not his thing. It's
Yeah,
really not
and
Mikael's
to
thing.
be honest with you, most of my friends, they're like, wow, turn off, Mick. You don't want to go to the Louvre. But the thing is, it's my personal preference.
It's
And,
not
you
his
know,
personality to go to museums anywhere.
yeah. And then I say, gusto ko mag-food trip dun sa kalye. Gusto ko tikman
Yeah.
yung mga pastries dun sa kalye. And they're like, why? Why would you do that? O yun yung trip ko. Wag mo basagin yung trip
Yeah,
ko.
exactly. Like I like going to museums. So like what Mikael and I do is I'll go around. Like he'll let me go around the museum and then he'll just be like somewhere else eating. And then we'll just meet up. So that's what we do. And at least we both get to enjoy. And then we meet up for like coffee afterwards.
I like that. I like that tip. Okay, another tip. What are the essentials
Essentials when we travel.
when we travel, like in terms of packing?
Oh,
We've
okay.
learned a lot. So Megan is an extremely good packer now. Between the two of us, she's better than me already.
Yay.
Okay, I'm still.
Finally some redemption.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my goodness.
I still pack less, but that doesn't mean I pack well.
Yeah.
I can go on a trip right now and I'd probably forget half my stuff, but konti lang dala ko at least.
Yeah, so the main point of packing is you pack efficiently. Make sure you pack everything that you need, not over, but make sure you don't pack less na you have to buy it.
Yeah.
If you already have it, might as well bring it because we don't want any extra expenses. So, what are the
Yeah, so
essentials?
Megan basically packs the minimum necessities required to travel in the smallest amount of space. She has those two boxes checked. Me, I only have small amount of space checked. I don't usually get all my necessities inside my luggage.
Basically, I pack all the clothes and essentials for Mikael and I when we travel.
So
and
what are your essentials?
Wait
I'm
lang.
curious.
So I pack all the essentials and all the clothes for you and I, and you pack all the tech stuff. Everything in terms of tech, like the laptops, the chargers, the camera, everything that we'll need in terms of for vlogging. You
Okay.
pack all of that. So essentials for when we travel, the ones that I pack are first I see how many days we're gonna travel. Let's say
Okay.
we travel for 5
5
days.
days.
So the first thing I pack are the bottoms, jeans or pambaba. So if we're there for 5 days, I'll pack 2 pairs of bottoms for the both of us.
I pack my own clothes, yo.
Well, I try to narrow
Yeah,
it
okay,
down
go.
also, but these are the basics. So 2 pairs of pants, and then I'll pack a shirt or a blouse for every day that we're there. So 5 blouses. And then I'll pack 2 workout clothes because we can always wash. And sometimes we forget to work out anyways, so why bother? And that's basically all the clothes that we need to bring and undergarments.
Yeah, well, that's Megan's philosophy that she likes imposing on me. But to be honest with you, I do have my own philosophy. When I travel, it doesn't matter how long it's going to be. I can bring 1 pair of jeans, 3 pairs of underwear, and I'm good. Okay, and 1 shirt and 1 jacket. That's it. That's all I need to put in my bag. After that, I need my passport, my wallet, and my camera. I'm good.
Well, I'll make sure to bring you an extra toothbrush then because you're going to need to brush your mouth.
See, I forgot my toiletries already.
See, these
But
are the things that I pack for him.
But I'm not kidding. You give me 1 set of clothes and my tech, I'm good. And my passport and wallet. Yung wallet ko, I don't even need cash. I just need my credit card and ATM.
Okay, so this is where Mikael underpacks because I don't want us to have to go out to shop. So that's why I make sure I have everything for the day already packed.
Yeah, she helps me spend less when I travel, in
Yeah.
fairness.
Yeah. Kailangan we have to be kuripot.
Okay, okay. So I like that. I like that. So we got our travel essentials out of the way. How about how we do our hotel bookings and research on what we're going to do? I think this is a very interesting point for us. How we do it.
Okay. So for Mick and I, we like to save as much as we can. So number one, we're gonna see if we have any friends or family in the place that we're going to, and if we do, we're gonna ask them if it's okay that we can stay there because that does save us a
A lot.
ton of money. Oh my goodness, you don't know how much money we've been able to save on
I've
these trips.
probably I've probably saved over 50 nights worth of lodging
Yeah,
just staying with friends and family.
yeah,
But at the same time, I think it's very I think it's noteworthy to say that always have a gift for them, a
yeah,
sizable gift.
yes.
Okay, like
Something
not
that
wag
you know that they're
yung
gonna use.
wag mo bigyan ng Hershey's Kisses lang
Ugh.
after like staying in their place for 10 nights, dude. Give them something that they'll really like and appreciate. Like I had this one cousin who let me stay in his apartment
Let
for
us stay.
us stay in his apartment for what over a week,
Yeah.
and we decided to get him a really expensive coffee set, which we knew he would want. He wanted. He just didn't have enough extra cash to go out and get it.
Yeah, we didn't spend as much as we would on lodging, but we were able to spend something for somebody that saved us,
Helped save us a
helped
lot
save
of
us a
money.
lot of money. So if you don't have anybody that you can stay with, another tip is to look for Airbnbs in the area that's near public transportation. If they're near a train, if they're near a bus station, or if they're easily connected to like a grocery store, that really helps out, I think. For Japan, I always look if the Airbnb is like 1 minute walk from the train station or 30-second walk from the train station because it's so helpful to be so close to these traveling points.
Yeah, and you're just more motivated to move around. I mean, what if you were like a 10-minute walk from the train station? You might end up just
Hassle.
staying in your Airbnb most of the trip.
Yeah.
So that kind of planning really does help. I noticed just thinking about it right now. Another thing is where to go. The best piece of advice I can give anyone is look at blogs, personal
Yeah.
blogs. They help so much. And Google Translate really helps because, example, back to Japan, we found some of the best restaurants in Japanese vlogs. And, maybe 10 years ago, it would have been impossible to find them because you wouldn't understand. The blogs are written in Japanese characters.
Yeah.
So Google Translate helps us. And these are blogs of, I guess, bloggers that have been new ones. Some are just a year old, 2 years old. Most of them are really just amateurs, just sharing what their experience has been. And in a way, when you do that, you kind of get in touch with what the locals are into.
Yeah.
And that's usually one of the more unique. I can't say the most authentic, but it's definitely such a unique experience. It's not like the suggestions on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
I mean, those are so generic. CNN, all the news sites, they usually promote tourist traps simply because they're on those
Of course.
extremely popular news channels.
Yeah.
So yeah, blogs would be the best one for me, I'd say.
When Mikael and I travel, we always have coffee in mind because that's what we love and that's what we love doing. We love drinking coffee. So whenever we go to a new country, the first thing that we search for is specialty coffee in the city that we're in. And from there, we're able to find restaurants, we're able to find gyms nearby because we like working out. And it just opens up doors for a lot of other places to go to. So if you like coffee, search for that. If you like going sightseeing, go for that. But know what you want before you go.
Yeah, and another thing with the coffee thing is usually in the specialty coffee shops, the baristas know more about the local scene in terms of food and drinks. So we end up talking to the baristas, getting to know them, and asking them for their own personal recommendations,
Yeah.
which are still way better than what you would see on the internet,
Oh, yeah.
on the major news sites.
We have a couple of questions from people out there that want to know more about traveling. And they want to know who pays for our trips.
Let's see. Who
Are we
used
are we doing the thing where I'm sure people think na because you're the guy, you pay for all the trips.
Oh, hell no. Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, wait. Medyo natulala ako dun because over time, the way we pay for trips has changed a lot.
A lot.
But now that Megan mentioned that during the first few years, no way, dude, the guy does not have to be pressured to pay for the trip.
Never,
Please. Please. Like you can make the girl libre like a
dinner.
coffee.
Yeah.
Diba? Hold her hand, but do not pay for the trip. That is not
Do not feel
worth it.
pressured.
You are asking for a lot of trouble if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of resentment can come from a guy or a girl paying for their significant other's travels because these are big expenses.
Yes.
And when you pay for that, I imagine my expectation yung guy
Mm-hmm.
or the girl.
Yeah.
Like it has to go this way. And you don't want that. You don't want the balance of power to shift. You want it to be equal. And the
Yes.
best way to make that equal is that you pay for your own trip.
Exactly. And that's what Mikael and I do up until now.
Yeah,
In a
up
way,
until now.
yes.
Although now we're a bit more flexible with it because we've been together for 8 years. And I mean, there's no real power struggle between
Yeah.
Megan and I anymore. We kind of like, we travel as one entity already.
Yeah. So sometimes it'll be like Mikael will pay for the flights and I'll pay for the hotel,
Yeah, hindi na kami nagkakwenta-kwenta masyado.
which we'll talk
So,
about in the next episode. Don't worry. We'll talk about money next.
Yeah, we'll get into the detail one of these days. But yeah, it was an evolution for Megan and I.
Yeah. When
How we dealt with the money problems of traveling.
when we first started dating, though, we definitely paid for our own trips. Like for the flights, we paid on our own. For the hotel, we paid on our own. But like you said, when we would go out, like you would make me libre coffee or I would pay for dinner one time.
Yeah. One last tip I have on this regard is ever since I started traveling, I whenever I would get my paycheck from GMA, a certain percentage would go to savings, a certain percentage would go to bills and to just my own disposable income, and then another percentage would go to a travel fund.
Yeah.
And that has helped me so much. So it has helped me travel last minute guilt free.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi sayang naman if you travel last minute and you dip into your savings, that's gonna hurt a lot.
Oh, yeah. You want to have that extra money so that you can enjoy your trip.
Yeah, so that's one that's one tip for those who want to travel a lot. Create a travel fund that you put money into every month regularly. No fail. As in parang savings talaga siya. If you're that adamant about traveling, I highly suggest that's something you do.
Another one is somebody was wondering, how do you deal with fighting while you're traveling? Can you still enjoy the trip?
Yeah, we had one fight, didn't we?
We had one big fight when we were on the way to the Maldives. And I don't remember what we fought about, but we were it was a big fight. And let's give people backstory on how we are when we fight or when we're having an argument.
Okay, go start.
So it's usually my fault. And Mikael will get upset. And the problem that I used to have that I'm working on is that I don't address it right away. Like I don't address Mikael's feelings on how he felt towards what I did.
To elaborate on what she's saying is that I call Megan out on what she's doing, and at first I'm very gentle and I say, hey, I don't think you should do this. I think you should work on this or that or not do this one again. What do you think? And silence, guys. It's like deadly silence.
Like wala man ng acknowledgement.
Yeah, and at this point, sometimes I'm not even fighting or arguing with her. I'm trying to just, give her feedback, constructive criticism maybe, and it's still deadly silence. And it's that this happens with a lot of relationships. I
Yeah.
think that deadly silence turns into anger,
I know.
resentment,
And at this time you were
intensity.
at this time he was like, well, why isn't she even acknowledging what I'm saying? Is it not important to her? Is she not like alarmed by what I'm telling her? And I think that's when you got really upset at me and we both went into a silent treatment with each other. To be fair, my silent treatment was me blacking out in my head, just going over what I was doing wrong and not even thinking about Mikael. I was just like trying to recount everything in my head, which resulted into me going dead silent.
Yeah, I don't even remember what we were fighting about specifically.
I don't remember either, but you got pretty upset and went super silent with me. And I was trying to push everything under the rug. And you're like, so are you going to pretend that nothing's wrong here? Something like that. But I think we did. How did we push through that?
I think we eventually just talked about it. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like prolonging fights. I like dealing with it. I think if both parties are willing to deal with the problem actively, then it can be solved right away. So I think that's basically what happened. The problem is Megan is not an active negotiator when it comes to problems. She's so passive. She even runs away.
Yeah, I'll run away. Like,
so it's so annoying. It's the
that's
bane of my existence.
that's my the bad the cons.
It's her bad habit.
That's my bad
so
habit.
here I am, very willing, and this is her personality, not that willing. But she's working on it, and it worked out. So I guess a lot of patience for both sides, and just the mental fortitude to say, "Na okay, once this fight is over, you gotta put it past you. If you hold a grudge, even just a little bit, wala na.
It's gonna
your
ruin
trips, Your trip's gonna go down south."
So we talked about it. We pushed through it, and by the time we got to the Maldives, we were fine.
Yeah.
Okay. It went through like one flight and one layover that we were fighting. But yeah, we got through it.
Yeah, and I guess to wrap it up, how did you feel about that travel episode?
I think we could talk about so much more.
Yeah, no, there's so much. So I guess for this episode, we zoomed out and talked about what we've learned from travel over the past 8 years that we've been together. And I don't know, if you summarize it, what have you learned?
What I've learned from traveling with you is to not be afraid to try new things, to learn to explore, because there's so much out there that you could learn and learn to love if only you try it. So that's a good thing that I learned from you and our travels.
Is there a bad thing?
A bad thing is when you don't, well, there's nothing bad really. Nothing bad, I would say.
Really? Wow. Okay. For me, what I've learned about traveling the past 8 years with you is that we should travel even more. And I say that because every time Megan and I travel, we grow as an individual and we grow as a couple.
Yes.
Yeah, we learn so much more about ourselves. We learn more about the world and what we want to do, what we want to discover. So I think travel is just a stimulus that you can't get anywhere else. Obviously, that's why it's traveling. And I really like how it's affected us. And it's dangerous if you come into it with the wrong mindset, because it could lead to a lot of arguments. That is the downside. But I think that you and I have entered and traveled with a good attitude and a good perspective in life, and that's really, really helped us grow. And the bad thing with traveling is that your bank account can go bungee jumping really quickly.
Well, I mean, you gotta save, of course.
Yeah, if you do it irresponsibly.
If you do it irresponsibly.
We have had maybe a couple of trips where we weren't super responsible.
Oh my gosh.
And when you aren't careful, yeah, skydiving your bank account, you guys.
Oh my gosh, I remember that trip. After that, we didn't travel for so long.
Yeah. But there you go. That is Behind Relationship Goals Travel Edition. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have more questions, just ask away. I'm sure there will be edition 2
of traveling. Yeah,
of traveling.
Definitely.
So, do you have anything else you want to say? I think you want to leave them with the hashtags again.
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions or comments about the episode, just put in the hashtag Behind Relationship Goals and hashtag Bones Fofo Podcast.
Yes, so I hope you guys enjoyed our new set. I would also like to thank Rode because they've been sponsoring us in a way.
Yeah, they've been so good to us. They've been lending us microphones. Like this one is actually, if you're on YouTube or Facebook and you can see it, then this one should have a mic stand, but we like holding the mics on the set, so this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, basically our equipment right now is badass, and we're so happy because I love having badass equipment.
I know, and of course our laptop
Yes,
from Power Mac
and
Center.
yeah, on that note, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.